republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Meeting will come to order. Did you have a chance to look at the minutes?
Yes, I did.
They good?
They're good.
You have the printout copy too, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as printed.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
It's not on there yet. Don't know. I gave him the Zoom information yesterday. I think Kyle Helen is coming in person, so.
Have you had a chance to look the claims over?
Yeah, I got quite a few questions. You ready?
Yep.
Let's see. Page 2, second one from the top, transportation building, Garland. What do we rent from Garland?
Where's it at?
Page 2 at the very top, second one down, $475.
Darling.
What do we rent?
I think she's got a building over in Belle Plaine, doesn't she?
Oh, is that it? Okay, yeah, you're right.
I think.
That's
Didn't
what
she
it
keep a
is.
bus over there?
Yes, that's what it is. Yep, my fault.
No, that's okay. Garland does sound like a construction,
Yep.
so.
Yeah,
Okay.
right next door.
And then probably about 10 down
Hello?
On page 2.
Hello, did you not call in the Zoom? Oh, it's on there right now. Yep. There's two different ones, because one was from 9 to 10 and the other one's 10 to 11, so you have to use the first one. Because the other one is for the department heads. Nope, that's fine. I'm gonna forward you that one again. That's the one that's live right now. All right. That way you make sure you get the right one on. Yep. Bye. I think he was trying on the second one first. So.
Negative 79.
That's a credit. If we have to enter it as a credit, if we get a credit invoice.
You ready again?
Yep.
Bonar's uniforms, $460.
Which,
Second page again, about 10 down, 460.
that was, yeah, I don't know, that was already purchased.
Okay,
It was probably ordered ahead of time,
okay, enough said,
because it's Department 22.
enough said. Page 3. Got a couple on 3. Towards the bottom, 1,447 for the conservation utilities. Is that all the REC bills together? Do you know?
Probably, it's probably lumped into one lump sum.
I mean, I
There's
can
probably
check
different
that out
invoices.
later from Karen's report.
Well, that's
Yeah.
there isn't any utilities going on now. There's nobody in the campsites.
Well,
It's pretty much about that though, I think. But you gotta remember too, this was
you know, the office itself, that would run probably close to 300, I'd say, at least a minimum of 300 a
You
month.
can't let some of that stuff freeze up.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, then the third one down, what's this CPC services, $500, Marengo?
That is that CPPC grant with Erin Monahan that we do. She'll bring in the claims and we pass through and then we get reimbursed by the state. CPPC and DCAT.
Okay. Okay. DHS
Hello?
posting,
That's a problem.
Where you at?
page 4.
I don't see a problem. Let's see if Ben will come back in here.
Morning.
Mark?
Morning. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing okay?
No virus yet?
I think Kyle is coming in.
Pardon?
I think Kyle is gonna come in person.
He's gonna come in person?
Yeah, because he wants to get it recorded and do some research.
Oh.
So
That's right, he wanted to.
I let him in yesterday, make sure.
Shame on you.
Well, we gotta let him do their.
You letting him in the building?
Hey, good morning. I'm sorry I'm having so many issues.
All right, I see you're on there now.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, were you just trying the wrong one?
Yeah, I was on the wrong one.
Okay,
And I couldn't get it to work, so, oh well.
we can.
We're there
hear.
now, thank you.
Yep,
So, did you approve the minutes?
yes, they did. Did you have anything?
I did not on there.
We're just going over claims right now, if anybody has any questions.
I did,
Okay?
and it is on pages 1 and 4. The CPPC, Williamsburg, and I believe Iowa County.
Okay,
What is that?
that's that Erin Monahan, that's a pastor grant. The CPPC and DCAT, so we pay some of her bills
Okay,
and then
alright.
we get a
That
gas.
was with DCAT. Okay,
Yep.
all right. And there's quite a few claims for the CIT training.
Right, with the sheriff, and that's the mental health stuff. I don't know
Okay,
if that
alright.
conference is still going to happen, but I think he had to keep, as of now it was scheduled. We might get reimbursed for that later.
Okay,
But
so I presume they went ahead and paid for the rooms, et cetera, at that time.
correct, but you can talk to Ron, maybe
Okay.
he's got an update, I don't know.
Sure, okay, all right. No problems. Okay, that's all I had. The other gentlemen have questions?
Tracy had something on page 4.
Page 4?
DHS postage for $3,000. Don't we get reimbursed from that?
Some of theirs, they do, 30%, but they still have their regular working budget line items.
Really? We don't get it 100% of that? That?
It's their copier it's their copier maintenance, right?
No,
No,
DHS posting.
No, postage.
It'd be a second one from the top.
Yeah, some of that we do, but not. Oh, I see it. For the 3,000, yeah. It's working now, he got on. I think he was calling in on the second one before the
Okay.
first one.
I was able to call in, so that's fine.
Okay, yep, thank you. Yeah, they still can turn in their bills for that, in and out, up to, I don't remember what we have in total budget. We only get reimbursed for stuff like, building maintenance, mowing, that type of stuff.
Okay.
I'm giving a copy of the
Page 5.
resolution
Uh,
and that.
middle of page, general supplement,
Yep.
United States Lawyer,
Stays with the
election
rest of the
phone.
land.
You get a new cell
Right.
phone just for that?
No, we
straightforward.
have Wi-Fi hotspot,
Pretty
Yeah, we
straightforward.
got it.
So for every precinct now,
Yep,
we have Wi-Fi, so we have to
Yep.
purchase that, and it's
Yep.
like, you have to activate it for 4 months at a time,
Yep,
so it should get us
understood.
through.
And that's all I have.
Okay. Gary have any, did he?
They were covered.
This was a long,
Okay.
we had that 3 weeks period, so this was a big
Yep.
run,
Yep.
so.
I make a motion to approve the bills as presented.
Is there a second?
Sure, I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay.
I will probably do some handwrites for postage as needed too, but as long as it's under the threshold, you guys don't have to approve it. With our ballots coming back,
With all the ballots going out,
that, well, yeah, because we have the meter coming back, so they only charge us as they come back. Going out, we use the treasurer's meter, so we're charged through that. But the incoming ones, we have our account at the post office. And we have the bulk rate, so.
What's the count up to?
We've mailed out over 2,500. And in the primary of 16, we mailed out 327 total. Yeah, so if that gives you any idea how busy we are. Yeah. It's good, everybody's wanting to vote, but it's crazy.
well, how many total ballots were cast in 16?
We had like a 7% turnout, and we were already at over,
Like 7,000, wasn't it?
as of after Tuesday, we had over 12% turnout just for absentees. But then you have to wait and see if they all come back.
They probably won't.
It's always sad.
Most of them will, but there'll be some.
I have your letter too, Kyle, and your resolution.
All right, great, thank you.
Mhm.
You guys okay if I take the mask off since somebody else is wearing one? Right.
Yep, we screened you coming in,
Okay.
so.
Yep, I didn't know if you guys wanted me to wear one or not, so,
I told her not to let me in.
for other reasons.
I guess we could probably get started
Here, I'll give them one.
real close.
Oh, you got one, okay. I thought I sent it.
Here we go, man.
He doesn't print sometimes, so.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Hit her.
Kyle is here. He has a client that is falling under the provisions of our subdivision ordinance, and Kyle has submitted you a formal request for a variance to the subdivision ordinance, specifically as far as preparing preliminary plat and the other sections that typically you're looking at varying from the standpoint of this isn't a full-fledged housing development. What you have is, and Rick, I'm sorry you may not be able to grab all of this. I have a copy of an aerial, but it's Brian and Renelda Baldus, excuse me. It's up in section 34 of Harrison Township. It's approximately right here where the parcel is that we're looking at dividing. The situation is that in 2005, if you look at this aerial that I've given you, the previous owner took the 40-acre tract and divided it in half. 20 acres were sold here to a Kathy Yoder, 20 acres were sold to Renelda Baldus. Basically what's going on here is they're selling the property, and the new owners, their lender, needs to have the acreage the house site separated. There's a business there that this board gave approval for it was called the Mutt Hut. It was a dog daycare business. It sits right over here on the west side on this parcel, and the acreage needs to be split off for lending purposes. So obviously we have 3 divisions in that 40-acre tract. And so suggested that they do it by way of a variance. There's not going to be any new building or anything like that. The buildings already exist. It's just basically to help the individual that's buying the property get the loan to follow the provisions of the loan that they need. So the way to do that obviously is that Kyle will split that out, prepare a final plat for it. It's just a matter of would you grant the variance to allow for that to happen. That's where we're at. And then I handed you a copy of the resolution for you to approve and sign if you're in agreement with doing that. Any questions? Kyle, did I leave anything
No,
out?
you didn't leave anything out other than, if you do approve the variance, we would come back, to the Board of Supervisors with a final plat of survey that you would approve. So you will have a second chance to review what you're given a variance on.
This is all very similar to what we've done in the past with several of the smaller divisions situation. As the resolution states, we're varying Article 4, Sections 4.01 through 4.05, Article 5, Sections 5.01 through 5.07, Article 6, 6.2 through 6.03, and 6.05, and Article 7, Section 7.01 of the ordinance. Everything else will be complied with. Final plat prepared, attachments, and etc. And it requires a resolution for you to accept that plat.
Mark, not to interrupt, is that supposed to be a 7 then?
Sections F, 605.
Is that right?
I believe so.
Okay.
I didn't bring the ordinance up with me, but I think it is.
too.
I think you had it right before. It's in the original number 61.
I think it is that.
I don't have a problem with this. It's nothing different than we've done before.
That would be correct.
Mark, on which 40 is it?
It is
Over here.
during the,
It's in the northwest quarter of Section 34.
we gotta go back to Taylor.
Oh, it's in the intersection?
It is that 20 acres right there. It was cut out of that 40. Back in 2005, Roger Gator split these this 80 into 420s.
Okay.
And tract 1, 2, 3, and 4 as it was named back then. But this is the 20 right here, came out of that 40.
Okay, and these people are not getting the dog pound?
They are.
They are.
buying everything.
They're actually getting everything. It's just their financial underwriter is requiring separation between the house and the business.
Okay.
The business is staying with the rest of the land.
Okay, understood. I don't have a problem either.
I have this one sealed if you want to sign this one. If you approve it.
I make a motion to grant the variance.
You wanna
And
say,
I would second that motion.
all in favor, please say aye. We gotta do that by,
Resolution.
resolution.
Resolution?
Yeah,
Yes.
Oh. Aye. Primer, aye.
Seaman, aye.
beer shank aye. Motion carried.
Thank you very much. Hopefully we'll return next week with a final plat of survey.
Good.
Thank you, Mark. You do a great job as always.
Do you want that signed resolution? Obviously, I won't have riffs on there yet,
I can pick it up next week
but
if
you
you want.
record it with the plat anyway, so.
Yeah, so if I can just get it when we do the resolution for the final plat too, as long as I just get a file of documents, we're good to go. I don't need it right now.
Yep.
All right, thanks
I'll get you
everyone.
the certificate and all that.
Have a great day, stay healthy.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks, Kyle. Take care.
Thanks, Mark.
You want these back?
Yeah, I'll take them off your hands. Do you need any more resolutions signed?
I'm good.
That's good? Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. See you later.
Yeah.
See you, Mark.
I think ours coming in person, but I'm not sure.
We can do a pantry update and concerns, maybe.
Yeah, Sarah Wagner reached out to me on that too, Rick. Rick, did you want to talk about the food pantry since I put it on there?
The food pantry,
Yeah.
you indicated,
Yeah.
is that correct?
Yeah, because last week you
Well-
asked me to.
Yeah, basically what it amounts to is I'm going over there this afternoon and visit with Linda to see what we can or can't do. She had some concerns about putting it in that, I want to say that enclosed hallway between the two buildings.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go over there and just see what she's got in mind.
What are her concerns?
What are her concerns?
Yes.
The fact that like the week before they had 61 people. She said that's a lot of bags that they put together and they would have to move those bags from the pantry over to that enclosure. She said it'd just be a whole lot easier if they could just set them outside the door.
Oh,
Well, Sarah Wagner did reach out to me and said that she feels that they don't really have a shortage of the food, though. That's a good thing. That the community is.
Oh yes, that's correct.
The
Yes.
community is very, very willing to donate right now. So.
And they get a lot of dairy products, milk and cheese, etc. So you bet. No, it's very good.
Just a shortage of volunteers, right?
Shortage of volunteers is correct due to the COVID-19.
Rick, I was there Monday morning and they grabbed me when I was trying to leave. And I looked what they are wishing for. They want to extend, way I got it, they want to extend the roof out so it's past the sidewalk. I mean, there's already a 4-foot overhang there on the building. And they want to extend
And
it
this is
out.
on the south side, that door, correct?
Yes, southwest corner of the building. And they were kind of
Yeah.
thinking about extending the roof out. This is what they told me. I would not comment one way or another because I says, I know they talked to you. And I says, I'm letting you handle that one. I don't know nothing, so, but I did look at it. I mean, there's some options there. Sarah told me she was thinking about if they could put a tent up, like on Monday night. She was like, they use it at the cemeteries for Mike Phillips.
Correct.
Well, then I tried telling her that Mike don't own them. Wilbert's vault company owns the tent. Mike does not own the
Sure.
tent. So I said that situation would not work. But like I said, I'll let you look into it. I didn't want to get in the middle since they already contacted you first. Understand?
Yep, I sure do. No problems. Yeah, I'm concerned about a tent and weather and things of that nature. Even though it is sort of a temporary scenario, I think we need to look at something different. So
well,
a tent just doesn't sound too exciting.
yeah, those tents gotta be staked down, and it's hard to stake down a
Exactly.
tent on a
See,
concrete.
I said there's two ways you could do it. And I said, I'm just throwing it out here. That I said, one, I said you could come off underneath a gutter with a short roof, like about a 6-foot roof, over that way, and it still would be covered over top of the sidewalk. You could put steel on it, but that was one option.
Well, and a roof covers things if, for example, if it's a rain
Right.
and it's going to seep in underneath of it. I'm not so sure that it's not going to need perhaps a small enclosure on the sides, to try to keep it a little drier. Yet that's not foolproof at all. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll go over there and see.
Well,
So,
it's kind of protected there. I mean, there's, two sides of it are protected.
well, it's protected from the north and from the east. It's still open on the south and the west. But, and again, if this is more of a temporary scenario, but we put something up, it's going to be more long term.
Yeah.
What about
Because we don't want it flimsy and blow away, etc.
the sheriff trailer that I use for elections? It's usually empty for the most part. I mean, obviously I'm gonna be needing it for a couple weeks, but what about something like that to park there temporary? The trailer I use for election equipment.
Sure. Now,
I mean, I'm gonna be using it the week before the election, but otherwise it sits there empty for the most part.
Sure.
And
Well, that's a decent idea.
Yeah, it's got
I'll
all
bring
new
that
wheels.
up.
Just a thought to save money anyway. Since, yeah.
What is the size of that? Any rough idea, Neely?
It's the longer one. Gosh, I don't know offhand. I know we put all new tires
Okay.
and stuff on it.
Okay, well, I'll check that out. I
Because,
can always call the sheriff and ask.
right, because they
Or go
basically
major.
fill the orders and then the people pick them up once a week, or, I mean, it's not gonna be sitting there full all the time, correct?
No, they pick him up on Tuesday.
Right.
That's it.
So then, like, after that Tuesday, then I could get it ready for the election and they could still have it back within 2 weeks later.
Sure, of course.
I mean,
Yeah, that's a great idea.
yeah.
Because again, I don't think this is going to be a long, or hope it's not going to be a long-term situation. So, okay.
Well,
Right,
Ron's
that's
coming
great
in here
thought.
later. We can talk to him too.
Okay, all right. Very good. Great idea. I will mention that. Okay.
Trying to save on the budget. We're taking a hit. This COVID is not like what we planned for, so.
Well, utilize what we've already got. That makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know we've got a couple minutes before Ben, but I can briefly touch on the Shellsburg recycling. I got a hold of the Shellsburg mayor, and he's going to take it to the city council about relocating it to their maintenance building.
Good job.
He did. What's that?
Good job.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't real optimistic, but I told him the other point is it may just go away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of their residents and businesses that are utilizing it. It's not simply county. So, and I compared it to the one that's across the street here in Benton. So, yep.
Did they open up?
And the one here in Benton doesn't seem to gather the trash the way the one does in Shellsburg.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God. Okay.
All right.
Well, I show 9:30.
And Ben is in here.
Yep. I see him.
Oh, that's right. I forgot your wallet.
Oh, yeah. It's gonna take a while to get used to that. I was just gonna come in and talk to you guys really quick about seasonals. I did go ahead and advertise for those, so that's been up since this past Friday. The wage Myron set for spree truck drivers this year was $16.50, so I advertised the one spree truck driver opening at that, and then I talked with him about the internship again, and we agreed that that would be beneficial to have. So I've advertised that as well at $13.79. I did get in touch with a couple different guys about spray truck driving. Our past practice has been that, usually if the drivers we have had previously, because of their experience apply, they normally fill back into the roles. And I did talk with Luke Hennings, who's been my driver for the past 3 years, and he is interested in coming back and driving. However, he cannot start until June 1st. So I'm looking at pulling in Scott Hepker so that we could potentially start spraying next week. And I've talked that over with Dana and everything, and I think that should work. The only thing I did have questions about was, so because he is a county employee, we just have to change, like you were saying.
We have to put it in payroll correctly.
Okay.
Put him under the weed.
I'm going to get clarification on that for sure today. I've talked with both Myron and Scott now, and I talked with Scott last, so I just want to make sure that's kosher with Myron.
So he has to mark it on his timesheet when he turns it in, where it's working from.
Yep. Yeah, so hopefully if the weather cooperates, I know the tail end of this week isn't looking very good, but I'm hoping next week we can get started spraying anyway, so. Yeah, and then so hopefully that'll get me by for those 2 weeks before Luke can start, and then we should just be able to rock and roll as usual, so.
So you want them to formally approve those 2 hires today?
I think.
We're gonna wait till the end.
Why don't we wait, because I did want to give like the full advertisement period too, and Luke still does have to apply just because that's how we do it every year. Usually they resubmit their applications.
Do you advertise it on the county website or in the paper?
Yep, and in the paper.
Oh, in the paper too.
Yeah, so it goes into the paper tomorrow, I want to say. And that's when the spray notices and stuff like
Is that the
that.
live wire?
Yeah, I think so. I have to check with Alicia for sure on that, but I'm almost positive that we were putting it in the paper too. But yeah, it is on the website, and it's been up since last Friday, and then that'll go through the 25th of May. That gave me 10 or 11 business days. And then, that'll work out well anyway, just because then it would give me enough time for interviews and potentially, starting him on the 1st and stuff, which is most likely what's gonna, take place. So, and then I do have, so far I think 1 application in for internship. So hoping that I can kind of start that around the same time too. So I think it should all work out. We should.
What's the internship pertain? Well, I mean,
it's kind of a variety of things, I guess. I really, having Gerald 2 years in a row, I was able to rely on him for a lot more stuff just because he, had kind of learned everything. But I set it up as kind of a way for a college student or somebody that's recently graduated to get experience in my field, just because it is kind of challenging to get in and learn what you need to know to get a full-time job. So they basically participate in every aspect of the job, just like I do. I encourage them to get their pesticide applicator's license and their CDL, just so then they can fill into the spray trucks if we have somebody on vacation or sick. And they also do prairie management, like all of our plantings that we put in. They go out and spray weeds or cut trees and stuff like that in the summer. I was having Gerald basically administer my no spray sign program last year, so he was doing the 1 calls and installations and stuff like that. And then he was also helping out quite a bit with weed complaints and stuff too, so that way when I was in the truck, we could still do like the weed letters and stuff like that. So he was getting all that information together when I would call him in. So, and then we kind of did it vice versa. If I got tired of being in the truck, he'd jump in for a day and I'd do weed complaints and stuff like that. So it's worked pretty good in the past. I mean, I think for what we pay, for that kind of service and stuff, and it works out good for them too, just because it provides, experience for them towards getting a full-time position. So, but yeah, and then normally when spray and weed season wrapped up, then Gerald and I would go and we'd rent a chipper and go out and cut brush and grind it and stuff like that, and clearing trees out of the ditches and whatnot. So
county don't own a chipper?
No. Something I'm definitely interested in pursuing, just for the amount of money we spend on renting one. I think normally it's like, don't quote me on this, like $3,800 a month to rent one. The one that we've been renting is, you can buy it new. Well, county price is probably going to be cheaper, but I think they retail at like $50,000. So, but through my grant program, I can get, again, I'll check on numbers for you. I think it's like $25,000 to $30,000 from the state to help fund one. So in that case, if we ever did want to buy one, it's only going to cost the county $25,000 for a new one in comparison to, having to spend the full amount of money.
Them new John Deere tractors that we got for mowers here that we purchased.
Yeah.
Do they have a power takeoff shaft on them?
Yes, I
Or
believe
does it
so.
hook to a hydraulic pump?
Well, I think they might be hydraulic. I'll have to ask Doug. I'm not sure because I know they've got some deal on the front, I think, that helps cool that maybe. I know they just bought a couple new ones, so I haven't really looked them over. I haven't ran one of them yet either.
New
So
tractors are hydraulic PTO.
No, the mowers that they got on them, I think they're self-contained units. They run off the PTO for the hydraulics to run the mower. What I'm getting at is that I got two neighbors got their own chippers.
Oh, okay.
They'll take up to a 6-inch stock.
Yep.
And they run on an 80-horse tractor.
Oh,
And it
okay.
works slicker, and they're only about $12,000.
Oh, that's not too bad then.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Well, and this
But
one.
the object is, it's not going to be as fast as the self-contained trailer one that's got its own motor where you hook on it with a pickup and drag it down the road.
And
50 mile an hour.
we did invest in this last year. We do have an actual flatbed with an enclosure now that's set up to pull that chipper too. So that's made it a lot more efficient too, because we were having to blow the chips into the ditch, which was kind of just making a mess. So they did invest in that box, and it's kind of like it's got sidewalls and a canopy type deal. So then we take them, and I got it lined up where we can dump them out at the city dump site out here. People take that mulch then for a variety of stuff. So, but yeah, the chipper we've been renting is a little bigger. It'll take a 12-inch tree. So that's where, going much bigger than that's pretty much pointless because we can't pick up anything that big and get it in there. But that's kind of right at the, what we can move by hand anyway. So, but yeah, it'll basically pull the tree in. If it gets too bogged down, it backs it out and then just kind of keeps sucking it through. So you can, as long as you can get it in there, it does a pretty nice job too. So, but yeah, any option would be beneficial just because, otherwise without us having the telescopes between, usually September and December, we don't really have a great way of getting rid of the brush, and it takes an eternity for us to pile it by hand, that it's not really efficient for you guys to pay us to stand out there and do it that way, But, so yeah, it's something, if you want me to, I can look into, funding going forward anyway, so.
Okay.
But
It's early yet, because you got spraying to do, so.
yeah, we wouldn't, and if you wanted me to apply for a grant, we're too late this year. Applications have to be done kind of in the winter into the spring, and then they're submitted usually around the 1st of June, so I wouldn't have enough time right now to even, get it ready and submitted to do that. So trying to remember, if we submitted next year, we'd have until winter of 2022 to spend the money too. So.
Okay.
Other than that, I didn't know if you guys had any questions about the seasonals. Like I said, the applications will close, that'll close on the 25th, and I'm hoping to have them on, ready to go by the 1st of June anyway.
So the dirt roads, do you take the trees out of them too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Usually, we try to prioritize the more highly traveled roads, but we do a lot of dirt roads too. So, yeah, we cut quite a few last year, actually. So, yeah.
Can we put you on the agenda for June 2nd?
Yeah. Yeah, it should be
So I
fine
don't
to,
forget.
officially hire them and stuff. So, Yeah, that was pretty much it from that regard. I think I'll come in. I had a couple other things I might talk to you guys about next week. But otherwise we should be able to be ready to rock and roll for the summer, so.
Well, it's good news.
Yeah, I think it's the best possible thing, I guess, considering getting started a little later on it anyway, so.
Weeds ain't growing that fast anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are kind of behind.
yeah. I don't know if it's just with it being cold and stuff. Although next week now it's supposed to be, I think, close into the 80s. So I might be playing catch up pretty quick here, so.
My garden.
Yeah. But
Well, it's a good deal, but it is a little later.
I was thinking they're west of me there. I believe they're called olive berries. They come in the spring of the year.
yeah,
And, they were probably about 4 foot tall, nice big leaves on them. The frost got them Saturday morning. I mean,
Really?
It worked better than Roundup. I mean,
Huh.
it smoked them.
yeah. Well, and hopefully that'll. That'd be nice if it smoked a lot of that stuff. I think we're getting caught up on a lot of it, but it's just a never-ending battle too.
You thought it was Sunday night or was it Friday night?
Saturday morning, Friday
I
night,
covered
Saturday
everything
morning.
Friday night, but not Sunday.
See, I didn't see any frost anywhere. Well, my brother in southern Iowa, he had 28 degrees down there, and he said the grass was white, the roofs were white.
Yeah,
In southern Iowa.
Yeah, but the trees never lost the leaves. I thought that would have
yeah.
dropped the leaves, but okay, Ben.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'll get a couple things I might come in and talk with you about next week, but otherwise, yeah, I'll come in for that on the 2nd, and
Okay.
should be it for a while, I guess, unless you guys. If you start I mean, it's probably a little early yet too, but if you do start getting weed complaints, just shoot them my way and it'll happen eventually. They'll probably all roll in at once. I'm sure it's kind of how it works, so.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hi, Myron. Are you on there, Myron?
I'm on here. You just gotta push the mute button before you start talking.
Okay. I saw you.
Yeah, I called in, you said hello, and I answered you, but I forgot to change the handset. 2 items for the agenda today. One is utility permit for Keystone Communications. Has that been distributed, Haley?
Yep.
Okay. They have 2 locations where they want to bury some telephone cable. One of them is in Jackson Township, along 59th Street, basically between sections 14 and 23, about a half-mile stretch. The other location is in Big Grove Township, right near the intersection of 63rd Street and 20th Avenue. Encompasses work in actually 4 sections 2 and 3, and 10 and 11. And that one's also about a half-mile in length of running phone cable.
Make a motion
Nothing
approved.
out of the ordinary, so I'd make a motion to approve those utility permits for Keystone Communications.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries.
I'll pass out the resolution now too, Myron.
Okay.
This is the one that needs
That
signed.
utility permit, if I just have Gary sign those, and if you want to just scan them back to me later today, Haley, that'll work.
Okay, yep. I got the original here, so I'll make sure I grab his signature.
resolution on the agenda. Eric Hummel, who is a Secretary of Roads employee, has been involved with running telescopes, putting in driveways, culverts, roadway culverts. The union contract defines 3 classifications with telescope operators. One that has 0 to 2 months experience running the machine, 2 months to 2 years, and those that have 2 years or more running the machine. Eric has been the helper, fills in on days when the main operator is gone over the last few years. Last fall he started running one more regularly. Looking back at the records, he has reached that 2-year time frame, so he would be entitled by union contract from a pay raise in a classification change. The VE classification that he currently has is $22.29 an hour. The VG classification would be $22.37. I'm recommending that change happen, and let's start it with the beginning of the pay period and make it effective yesterday of the new pay period that's started this week.
I have no problem with that. I'd make a motion that we change his wage and classification.
I second it.
All in favor, please say aye.
It's by resolution.
Oh, that's right, it is.
So, Primer, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Beershank, aye. Motion carries.
Rick, did you want to update Myron on the Shellsburg recycling since he wasn't on when we discussed it?
Well, the only thing that has been discussed, I visited with the mayor of Shellsburg regarding the recycling container there at the Shellsburg maintenance shed. And I asked if they would be willing to relocate it to their maintenance shed within the city limits. Hopefully someone would be around a little more frequently so that it wouldn't get so much trash involved. But I believe that's Lonnie, and he is going to get a hold of the city council, put it on their agenda. So, but he was not extremely optimistic that they would do anything. Not sure they wanted the mess.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I don't know if the, obviously last week the mess was pretty intense from the weekend, whether that had any connection to time of being near the end of the month of April, and whether there was general household tenant changes, clean out, if it was just spring cleaning, clean out or not. I was told semi-recently that the city of Shellsburg has changed haulers and hauler contractors. Their previous hauler was limiting 1 single bag per household per week, and that was becoming a challenge for many of Shellsburg's residents. That is no longer the limitation for garbage collection now with the new hauler. So whether or not that played into some of the city residents using the recycled container for non-recyclable materials, unfortunately, whether that will also help change activities as we move forward in time or not. But certainly a week plus ago, that site was heavily used for many non-recyclable materials.
Right. Well, and unfortunately, somebody threw out several bags of plastic pop bottles. They weren't tied shut, and that blew all over God's green earth and the neighbor's property too. And, I realized with the landfill closed to the
Well, the other option is just take it out of there.
Well, I realize that, but again, if it just ends up in our county ditches, that's not a good situation.
That's true.
So, yeah, and that's a fear I had when the landfill was talking about, you know, possibly just putting the recycle container at the landfill only. So, not everyone is conscious of the environment. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
As I well know.
I guess we'll move forward with it. Don't have much else to report on it.
Okay.
All right, yeah, I actually caught part of your discussion earlier. I didn't quite get tuned in quick enough, but thanks for that update, Rick.
Yeah, yep, okay. Alrighty. Anything else, Myron?
That's all I have for the day.
I got a couple things for you, Myron.
Okay, Tracy.
Okay, one of the things is, just to bring you kind of up to speed, the fiber optic line that ran by my house, the neighbor called me yesterday after dinner, got me out of the planter, and I went up on the dirt road right south of Newhall Blacktop. He had a contractor come in there and run a locator up the tile, and it got to the edge of the dirt road, and that's as far as he can get the locator up there. So the fiber optic guys were right south of my house working in that box there. So I went down, I grabbed him out of the truck and I took him up there, showed him what was going on. He tried calling the upper management, and of course they did not answer the phone to relay the message what was going on. So I give them Randy Sherwood's cell phone number when they want to contact somebody, and I also give him the card of the contractor that's willing to fix it on the dirt road, but of course they're going to have to flip the bill for it. So that's as far as that went yesterday. So I'm just bringing you up to speed. Randy knows this. I talked to him yesterday afternoon.
We talked about it this morning. He sounds like he has talked to somebody else within the contractor firm, and he was aware of it, thought the operator he talked to might be the one that's going to be asked to fix it, but
Okay.
I learned a little bit more, I guess, about your conversation and a little bit more of what Randy learned, I think, in following up and running into another crew working at another location in the county.
Okay. Now, I got another kind of a oddball question. The conservation has some bridges on the old Creamery Trail that are in sad shape. Can you give me a ballpark figure of what the bridge inspection company charges the county to inspect a bridge? I mean, the bridges that are there are shot. They showed me pictures of it last night, and they were wondering about hiring the company that you hired to do the bridge inspections. I said it probably is not cheap.
These bridges used to carry a train, and now they're not safe to go across.
Well, the way they fixed them, or the way they did it, whoever had railroad ties across it, I'm guessing they laid 1/2-inch plywood over top of the railroad ties. And then they poured 3 inches, excuse me, they poured 3 inches of cement on top of that. Now the railroad ties are rotted out, the cement is broke, and you don't want to drive a car over it. The main steel beams are in beautiful shape, but it's the railroad ties that are laying on top of the steel beams. You see the pictures, you'd understand. But I guess the question was raised to me about you have a firm you hired to do the bridge inspection. Do they charge by the bridge? And if so, how much?
They've actually put it together based on the whole county and how each year's numbers of bridges, but it probably averages out to around $200, give or take, per bridge inspection, depending on what would all be needed. Sometimes with bridges, there's special types of inspections needed for certain types or certain ages, and so that cost then goes up. But, based on the number of bridges the county has, everything's got to be looked at every 2 years as a minimum. Some of the more critical bridges are looked at annually, so
Okay.
there's a greater expense about every other year. But my recollection, I don't have the number in front of me, but I'm thinking it's $200 ballpark.
Okay.
That's about what we've been paying per bridge for.
You still here?
Okay. That'll do it for me, Myron.
Okay,
Are you still in charge?
Myron,
thank you, Myron.
are we,
Thank
painting
you.
any lines on these roads?
I
Myron?
haven't heard an update when they're gonna continue with what we've got left to do, Gary, but yes, they are planning on completing that contract that we did not get completed last fall.
Okay. Thank you. I guess
Yep.
That's it for me.
I think we have a separate Zoom call-in for this next part. Is that correct, Ben? So
Yes.
Ben, or Myron and Rick, I'm probably gonna have to end this one so that we can call in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and let the other department heads call in with that second email that I sent.
Okay, I had enough trouble getting in on the first one.
Yep. All right, so I'm gonna end this one and start another one.
Stay.
All right, thank you.
Yep, bye.
Yes. Pippin was messing with it. Let this be a lesson to you. You're dead center.
I don't wanna use computer audio, do I?
Yeah, you do.
Okay, I thought it was the other one.
Oh, there is a delay.
Yeah. Don't break my camera.
Not a total. Yeah. Wait, wait a second.
I got that.
You on? Were your ears ringing earlier?
No,
So the trailer that I use for elections,
uh-huh,
is it empty right now too?
should be.
Like if they temporarily park it at the food pantry,
Oh, yeah.
like to put some bags in or something? I'm just thinking of free resources that we have.
Should be empty. Would you like it moved out there?
Well, Rick's gonna go talk to somebody over there today. It's just for like a Tuesday, but then I would need it for the election.
Not a problem.
With the weather and the way it's been and stuff, people don't wanna stand outside.
No.
I don't know if it's on, Ben.
No idea.
Is anybody else on the line?
Randy, I call back in, Haley.
Okay, yep, gotcha,
Randy Shield is here.
okay. Tony Parzik is here. I'm not in closed session, so I don't know if that's announced.
And Barb Greenlee is here. Barb, you're on camera.
I am. Daryl Wagner here. Karen Phelps is here.
Okay, gotcha.
Haley, did you hear that I'm here?
Yes, we did. Yeah, so, you wanna get started? Did you guys do that meeting yesterday? Do you wanna give an update? With the public health meeting, or, I guess?
Sure.
I mean, we won't know until what the governor speaks.
Quick question, does the board want to go into a closed session to start to deal with security matters? And then come out and have a uniform message, or you just want to kind of go round robin, live streaming?
You need me to send you that?
And second question is Rick on the phone?
I think so.
Alright, well, we'll hold on for you then. On the second try you did, we have Myron and a bunch of them already on, so I'll send you that link again. Yep, Rick is not on there yet. He got confused with the links earlier. So, I don't know what you thought on closed session or not.
I don't think we need to, not yet, this time.
I don't see any reason right now.
We're just basically discussing.
Sarah, wait a minute, it's back on, I was kicked off.
Ben did that. Good job, Ben.
It's a stroke of a key.
Well, you got that really focused on Barb.
We're waiting for Rick Primer to get called back in, so.
In the meantime, find that mute button.
Do you want me to tell him the meeting? So if you guys could do us a favor, while you're not speaking, if you could put it on mute so we don't have all the background noise in here. Please and thank you.
Nope, not yet.
If you're on the new phones, it's the button at the very bottom of the phone, the circle button below the plus or minus.
Looks like a little speaker.
Working today?
Yeah.
Because mine still wasn't.
You log in.
How do I log in?
Send an email about it.
I haven't read it yet.
Oh, okay.
I'll look at it.
I saved the email, put it with my other notes.
Is that something you have to periodically do?
I don't know.
Just every morning.
Is everybody's email bombarded?
The phone should work the second you pick it up.
Well, the problem is they're network phones, and if I reboot stuff on the network late at night,
It's
I'm not
not nice
able to do
ones.
it.
Right now,
They
though,
do
if someone
it
calls in,
Yeah, we have them.
they can't leave a
texting us.
message?
No, they can leave a message. It's just your phone isn't logged into the extension.
Okay, so if I've got a message, it's been.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Rick, are you on yet?
He may not have.
Would you page for Supervisor Primer, please?
It's not on there. But he was using, he had his cell phone in his home.
Oh, Barb's coming in loud and clear.
Let's start us out.
I've been meeting with Scott
Hey,
Hansen.
I finally made it.
Thank you. I saw you were trying.
I'm terribly sorry. Gotta delete some of those old Zoom meetings.
Yep.
Okay, we've been meeting with Shram Tippett. We need to go around and introduce everybody. We've been meeting with Virginia Gay Hospital and our county health nurse every Monday since the beginning of this pandemic. Updating with the state of the county, with the long-term care facilities, the PPE that's being received, everybody has adequate amounts currently. We have a small stockpile if we were to get a case in a care facility. We have enough to get by for a little while, because then it takes much more PPE once you get a case in a care facility. We currently do not have any in a care facility. We've had 35 known, reported, confirmed cases in the county. Of those 35, 20 have recovered. That number is also on the internet, but it's not as easy to find as the number infected. There's one site where it lists the 35 at the top and then the 20 underneath of it, which is the number recovered. And then we've had one death due to this.
That was early on.
Early on. That's kind of the state of everything that's going on with public health.
How does that relate to the, I know Blackhawk County has a tremendous amount, but like Iowa County?
They have fewer cases than we do. Benton County, from the numbers we could find, we have tested nearly 8,000 people in the county. So we are nearing a third of the county being tested.
Can they test up here?
I do not believe so.
I didn't know.
Will antibodies test? Can they do anything like that yet, or?
That is still in the air if it actually means anything.
Okay.
We've tested 8,000 people in this county.
That's the number we found on the internet yesterday.
Who in this room's been tested? Because I find that, no offense, I find that hard, extremely hard to believe.
Or is that how many people took the assessment for the Iowa test, Iowa?
I would more believe that.
Don't qualify.
I took the assessment and I don't have to test.
No, that's what happens.
So I don't, no offense, I don't believe that we tested
8,000 tests
8,000
is a lot of
Benton County
tests.
residents.
I don't think
That's a lot of tests. I would more believe that's the number of people that have been to the website.
an
We'll see if we
assessment,
can find that number for certain.
But not everyone qualifies to get tested.
Very true.
When you take the assessment, you may not qualify, so you can't get tested.
Iowa County has 27 cases.
So what are your thoughts, everybody, like? So far?
Public health's recommendation was, we do not have, that we're aware of, any cases in our county facilities, the courthouse or anywhere else. We should just basically hold steady for the time being. Keep doing what we're doing. We know it works. If we were to get a case in the courthouse, that's when we would move closer to the courthouse not doing business anymore. Because of it's apparently very easy to spread. So my vote would be moving forward, regardless of what the governor says we can open up. We don't have it in the building. We should keep it that way for now.
I agree.
That is my plan in the jail. We are gonna run 2 to 3 weeks behind the recommendation so we can watch the curve, see where it goes. If things are opened up and our numbers really start to rise, then something in there's causing it, and there's no sense in endangering our workers, our facilities, or the general public that would come in and use them. That's where my vote goes, if I have a vote.
The general public is really anxious probably to get the courthouse open, but they're most at risk.
If we get it in here, then that will close the courthouse, in my opinion.
I would add, courthouse isn't closed, it's just closed to the public. We're still getting work done.
We're just as busy as.
Get a
we
positive
ever were.
case in though, pick on the treasurer's office for a second.
Oh, yeah.
If you get one in there and you have to send all staff home for 14 days,
You got a
and they were upstairs and picked up mail in the auditor's office and interacted with someone, you've got a huge mess.
Then we've got troubles.
Especially with the elections and the
That's what we're
absentee ballots we get in
It's kind of a
daily.
cartoon, but that's what we're up against.
It would be bad for our office to get it to.
And after this long, I think the general public has finally figured out the drop boxes outside, so they're, they're figuring out that they really don't need to come in here anyway, and they can still conduct business.
So how long do you think we should close it for?
You can have that.
Until the end of the month?
I can't say it on my.
Ron, do you wanna touch on like people's vehicle registrations and you guys, because I know that's a concern I get. People emailing that their tags are expired, their driver's like, they're really concerned.
The governor had extended all that, and in their most recent thing set out, it extended it a little further, along with the court cases.
The renewals for vehicles are extended. If they had a renewal date of January, February, March, April, or May, they have until the end of July.
And that goes for vehicles, and how about driver's license?
Driver's license, we're having a meeting at 11 today to find out more about that. But they have been extended, they've been doing the grace. And they're encouraging people to renew online, the ones that can. They have a remote access for the kids. They've been able to upgrade from their, they can go from a permit to school license, or from a school license to a driver's license, or they're 16 to they're 17. The parents can go through this website, fill out the certain forms, and the DOT, if they approve it, will just reissue a license, upgraded license with like their old picture. They're able to do that. The only people I worry about are the older people that have been expired since March, but right now they're in, the DOT's not going to.
They're in the grace period.
They're in the grace, plus I think they were going to give them another 60 days after the proclamation, and so.
What was the original extended date?
The original, they were only going to give them, well, for license plates, they were just going to give them another 30 days after everything ended, but they just came out yesterday with the final.
When driver's license, was it July?
I think July, yeah. But we'll find out more today.
Okay.
Because they are really worried about the driver's license stations just because of the number of people. And that's what we worried about.
What's Lynn County doing?
Appointment only. Well, Lynn County Treasurer is closed to the public right now. And the driver's license is appointment only at the DOT station.
Blackhawk's the same?
Yes. But I've been told we wanted to keep out of county from coming in. But what I've been told from our agreement with the state says no. But if we're doing appointments, we can put Benton County residents first.
Is there a time frame for that appointment only? Is there a cutoff period, or could that go indefinitely?
No, they won't let me do appointment only. I can do it indefinitely. It's up to us, and most of the treasurer's offices are doing appointment only, especially driver's license. A lot of them have talked about doing it indefinitely on driver's license. Vehicle stuff could open up more for them.
When they do it by appointment only, are they requiring the people who come in to have masks and gloves, or?
Down there, I am not sure. I can email Lisa and ask her what they're requiring.
I would think would be required.
They're only allowed
Gloves,
one person per appointment unless it's a minor where they would need, like if they're coming in to actually get their permit. They're able to do the permit tests online now, but then when they come in, they have to bring a parent to sign. But
I don't think we're there yet.
yeah.
No, I agree. I don't think there's any reason to hurry into this. Just because we know what we've done works. We know that we don't have any in the building, and the facility is safe. I believe we should try to keep it this way.
It hurts nothing to keep it this way until June 1st.
And we won't know where the governor's recommendations, of course, everything comes through the health department, and then they go through everything till a little later today, we hope.
Right, because that date was May 15th, so.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So how many, counties have an infected person?
I haven't heard of it.
That I don't know.
Last I heard was 77, but I think it's gone up since
No,
then.
he's talking about like county employees.
Oh,
Harrison County,
So what happened there?
they closed.
Lynn County has, didn't they have 2 in the jail?
I think so.
the Davenport driver's license station, the DOT station, they had to shut down until the end of the month because they have an employee that was infected.
Currently, if we have somebody that is, scheduled to go to the prison system, they are not accepting inmates. So they're paying for the housing. So it's pretty widespread that things are just at a standstill.
It's surprising to me that there's only one county that's got an employee.
I would assume there's more, but that's nothing I've ever looked at.
I haven't gotten
I know a big,
notification.
some department heads are reaching out like for their seasonal help. How do you feel on, I know camping opened back up. Maybe you guys discussed it last night, conservation.
That's why they're on the,
Okay, so
2 of them are on.
are you giving them any guidance on that?
They're waiting to find out on this meeting here.
Okay.
Because they wanna hire seasonal help. We said you can't. So we'll have to decide today whether let them open up on Friday and they can hire their seasonal help right away.
Probably gonna have to screen them.
I mean, right now, like,
And
yep,
this
Karen.
is Karen.
Yep.
And I did, after our board meeting last night, I sent, all of the supervisors, there, have a task force that got together with the state and county level, and they, based on the governor's recommendations to open the campgrounds, there is certain levels, there's like level 1, 2, and 3, and, I sent that on to the supervisors, and our board has seen this as well. And we would be, if we can hire our seasonals and we get the go ahead from the supervisors, we would be opening at a level 1, which would mean that we would follow all the regulations of saying that, no visitors to your campsite, you're limited to 6 people, it'd have to be a self-contained unit, meaning it would have to have some sort of a porta potty inside of it because we would not be opening our showers, our restrooms, our pit toilets, any of our cabins or shelters. It would strictly be camping. Our dump station would be open, and we've got signs posted there recommending that they use nitrile gloves and either dispose of them properly in the dumpsters or take them with them. And so we've got a lot of restrictions in place, but again, since the county closed us down and we cannot hire our seasonals, we're waiting on the outcome of this meeting to move ahead, and we would be ready to open Friday morning at 8 o'clock.
Have to screen them. I feel they'd have to screen them, just like everybody else.
This is more contagious now than whenever we first closed it down.
Karen, I handed out the list of the counties that
Yes.
they're looking through the list right now.
Yeah. And again, it was up to the individual counties, and I would have opened, but again, we wanted to make sure that our seasonal staff could be in place, and that just with a little confusion with the county, I wanted to not open without jeopardizing the closed county. And we still plan on, we've canceled all of our summer programs. The naturalists are doing posts on the website, Facebook, and we've gotten a lot of great comments. We're all mowing right now. We're all helping each other out in various aspects, trying to keep parks functioning right now because it is walk-in where people can use the trails and fish. It's just that our gates are still closed. Because once you open those gates, that is for, since 1958, that's been the signal that the campground is open. So, basically with very limited usage of the facilities and the campgrounds we are ready to open. Our nature center will remain closed. Our cabins will remain closed. Our shelters will remain closed. And we're blocking out reservation systems. And we'll analyze that as it shows, like every couple of weeks.
The restrooms and the shower houses.
Again, they're locked. They will remain locked at level 1 per that document I send out. And again, that was what happened was the DNR and also the county conservation key members of the county conservation system got together and came up with various guidelines that were agreed upon and reviewed also by the governor, and that's where this sheet came up that I forwarded on to you. And then I also, what Tracy, I believe, is handing out now is a sheet that shows what counties are doing as of May 8th, like who opened their campgrounds. And most of those campgrounds that are open are all operating at a level 1. And we can't control, I mean, we've had people, we've fielded about 100 phone calls here in the office, not including what the staff get asked by people that, you know, come in to fish or whatever, as when we're opening the parks. And so, you know, we're just putting off that answer right now and said, you know, we hope to open by the 15th, but. And again, we've got phone calls from people coming from Missouri that are coming up for something and want to camp. So we would be looking at, as you know, various, we get campers all over the state, not just Benton County. So that's with any campground across the state. You're going to have people coming in from various counties using our campgrounds.
Well, that's been a concern of mine, to be very honest. This is Rick. And so, with Benton County sort of being an island amongst all the other counties that, part of that 22 county area that is closed off, at least by the state, you know, are we going to be inviting people from those counties? Yeah, I just get a feeling that we're going to be bombarded from those counties, not just our residents.
Yeah, it's not just all.
We did, you know, and we do have, we worked with Scott Hansen, and he was able to provide us with PPE for the staff and seasonals, and that, which thank you, Rick, for that. And he informed me as well that if we needed more to order them, you know, for a week ahead. And so our staff has protocols in place as well that to protect themselves from, you know, from the public, and when interacting with the public or even amongst the staff, to protect ourselves and wear the proper PPE. And we've also got things in place as far as how to handle the money and to let it sit so long in the tubes. And even when the Rangers bring it into the office, I have to let it sit for, you know, X number of days and hours before I handle it, and I won't be handling it without gloves and a mask, because who knows where that money was handled. So the precautions are in place, and I feel confident that with our staff we could follow the proper, you know, COVID restrictions, and by keeping the restrooms and shower houses closed, and also thinking how much revenue is being lost right now.
And I understand with you heading into Memorial Day weekend, that is a big weekend, obviously. So, now, Sheriff, the health department recommendation is basically stay the course and until at least June 1st. Is that what I'm kind of hearing?
I would say that is accurate. We did not discuss the campground situation, because I did not know or did anybody there know the ins and outs of what the recommendations were. We discussed the county buildings and facilities.
If in fact we're allowed.
Well, in my mind's eye, and no offense to Karen and conservation, but if we're gonna remain the same, close the public to all county facilities, that includes the campgrounds. I mean, if we're not gonna allow outsiders into our courthouse, for example, why would we allow them into the campgrounds?
We can touch base with the county health and get their take and recommendations on that also. She was gonna try to be here, but she thought she had an interview today at 10 with somebody.
Rick, I'm going over the list right now. Iowa County is closed for the camping. Lynn County is open. We heard that from last night anyway.
Chic.
But it's for the self-contained campers only. Bathrooms and
Correct,
everything are
yeah.
closed.
Like the level 1
Yep.
that Karen sent out to us, yep.
Yep.
And that was the recommendation from the state.
Yep. And the trails and the fishing, that's open.
For walk-in, yep.
Now, what did you say?
Chic County.
Closed. Powashik's closed. Tama's closed.
Blackhawk, Tama's closed, yeah.
Yep, Tama's closed. Blackhawk's closed to the 15th. And then don't say anything after that.
Buchanan,
Buchanan is closed. Their
Okay.
entire office and everything are closed till June 1st.
And then,
you see, that's kind of a concern that we're surrounded, with the exception of Lynn County, by counties that are closed.
Just looking at that, it would make sense to stay the course and remain closed.
I think that conservation could probably do a pretty good job of keeping the campers isolated and keeping their employees away from them. My bigger concern would be, so you bring in people from other counties, they come to the campgrounds, but then they head into town.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have any control over what they do once they get to town.
Well, go one step further, and Missouri was mentioned, so now you're gonna bring people from out of state.
Exactly.
Go the different way.
So I understand conservation, wants to open and everything, and, and I applaud them wanting to open, but, we're all gonna suffer a little revenue loss. That's gonna be pretty universal. What does it hurt if this continues on till June 1st?
Personally, if worst case scenarios, I get sick and die, but I mean, if somebody in the county gets sick because we open this up and ends up passing away, it's not good. We need to have this closed.
I think with the other 5 counties around us, with one being open, I think we should stay closed.
I think that's a no-brainer.
Yep.
I guess I'd like to see the.
But quite honestly, I'm rather leaning towards leaving things as they are, including the campgrounds.
Yep.
However, they do need their seasonal help, which is, from the list I saw, primarily local young adults, but not necessarily limited to young adults. And they can screen them just like regular employees. And I'm sure they're in need of help. And, if they're going to remain closed
when would we be able to do that?
I don't know why you wouldn't be able to do it immediately, in my opinion.
That would be very helpful.
Well, you guys gotta be getting overwhelmed.
We are. But we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, as is everybody in the county. I think everybody is overwhelmed at this time, and I think everybody's stepping up, and that we could really use our seasonal staff. It would take a huge burden off the rest of the staff right now. And I know that, like I said, I would still like to be able to open our parks for camping, but I also respect all the comments and the county's decisions at this time.
So do we need to make a motion to move forward here? Because we are through the 15th, technically the county would reopen at this point on the 18th. And that's not a recommendation I'm hearing from the health department.
I would say we close until June 2nd.
That's a Tuesday, that's the election. June 1st is a Monday.
Well, we can act on it before the 2nd of June. Obviously, we would act on it the prior week. You know, I don't have a problem. I'd make a motion that we remain as we are until through the 31st or 31st of May.
Or do you want to put till further notice so we don't have to keep changing all of our notices?
Well, that makes sense.
So close till further notice.
And that's going to include the county parks, in my opinion.
But Karen's
all
gonna
county facilities, just like we have been. Yet, I would, in that motion, if I can, I'd recommend that they go ahead and get their seasonal help in and do proper screening.
Right, which we have all of those screenings in place and signs hung up in our offices already on a daily basis what the staff needs to do before reporting to work.
Sure.
Would we be able to, you know, like I said, our biggest concern, and I know you're making a motion, I don't want to interrupt that, but I do want to say our biggest concern is the confusion that we're getting from the public and even amongst our own staff is that the governor said the parks could open and many parks are, and we remain closed. I just want to be clarified on the reasoning we're staying closed so we can give a concrete answer.
I think it's been said multiple. Karen, it's been said multiple times in this board meeting, the reasons for keeping the parks closed. And with all due respect to the governor is not in charge of Benton County parks. So I don't think we need. I don't think we need to repeat the last 20 minutes.
No, this is not
based upon, you know, Benton County Health Department recommendation.
Okay.
That seems pretty clear to me.
Put that in your motion too, Rick?
That's what I wanted.
Okay. Other input? Is there a second?
So,
sorry, Gary.
Is this?
Might as well keep moving.
Is this till further notice? Read the motion again so I can.
You want me to read it?
Yeah.
So, Kremer moved to, based on the Benton County Public Health's recommendation, Benton County facilities will stay closed until further notice with the recommendation that conservation go ahead and get their seasonal hires in place with screening. We need a second to pass that.
Could we revisit that on the 26th? If
Of course we can. There's no reason we can't.
Because if the county cools down, I mean, this is gonna be their big weekend, Memorial Weekend.
We can put it back on the agenda.
You know, you follow what I'm saying here?
Of course,
But
no, I
just-
definitely
I want-
understand that.
That option out there, that,
But Memorial Day weekend's the 23rd.
Does it hurt though to have it be until further notice? You can still put it on the agenda to revisit.
right. Memorial Weekend when?
23rd, 20.
29th and 30th. No.
It's the 23rd, 24th, and 25th.
Exactly. Memorial Day is the 25th.
So it'd have to happen next week.
No, you have to.
We could do that.
And I realize conservation's gonna take it in the shorts, you know, over Memorial Day weekend. But, you know, I'm not comfortable, opening it up yet, knowing that we are that island, as I indicated, with the exception of Linn County.
The thing that bothers me the most is we're having more cases all the time. That
Is what?
we're having more.
Gary?
We're having more cases now than we had whenever we closed the courthouse.
That's because they're
They're
testing more.
testing more. Yeah, we're testing.
You know, I don't recall anybody that has canceled July 4th celebrations in their communities and said, well, let's revisit in a week and we'll see what happens. I mean, if you're gonna close it, close it.
Whoever's talking, I can't hear him.
Karen, this list that you got from the Iowa County Conservation System, do they keep that updated once a week or so?
Yes, they do. So like, I know like Tama County is opening the 13th. And Tom Hazelton is very good about pretty much daily, updates. And then, once a week they post like who opened when and things like that. So yes, I can pretty much get that information, very quickly from Tom Hazelton. He's the director for the whole county conservation system right now, and our go-to person.
I'll second that motion with you, Rick, if we can add in that we'll revisit for the conservation only on the 26th, when Karen sends us an update of the Iowa County's conservation systems. That way we can see what else is going on around here. But as for the courthouse, I'd say keep that closed, status quo till June 1st.
Well, realistically, you could look at it again next week. You know, there's no limitations as to when we can look at it.
I know it.
That would be before Memorial Day weekend if you were concerned about that.
We have a motion and a second.
That would be
General,
board's discretion.
Karen, can you repeat that?
I was just gonna say, when I receive updates, gentlemen, would you like to see them to help you make a decision?
Most
Most
definitely.
definitely.
As soon as I receive those updates on the county's opening and closing, I will provide them to you so that you can make an informed decision and hopefully we can get our parks open.
Sure. And we could put it on the agenda for next week.
This is Randy Schill, and just one additional piece. I pulled up the Blackhawk County Conservation page, and it looks like they're talking about following the governor's proclamation on Wednesday, May 6th, Blackhawk County Conservation will open portions of county campgrounds, except one park, at 8 a.m. on Friday, May 8th. So it looks like Blackhawk County putting portions of their campgrounds as well, just to add a little information.
Okay. Thank you.
We have a motion on the floor. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Well, there we go.
Barb Greenlee, Vice President.
Great, we'll update our notice till further notice then.
Okay.
And thank you, and
I'm going back to
we may go ahead and hire our
As the
seasonal
treasurer?
effective immediately then.
Yep.
That's what the motion was.
With the proper screening.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah, appreciate that. Just wanted that clarification. Thank you very much.
There it goes.
I actually,
Oh, good lord.
I think it's really
Sinking.
nice
On
that we're
camera.
a little behind.
Sinking.
because
Telling you.
How many of these parks are gonna end up having a person who's come with the thing factory?
Bye-bye.
Put on a helmet, man.
GoPro. I saw Haley acting like it was a Mr. Microphone
Well,
last
I don't
week.
know what else. I think we've gotten through everything. so
Karaoke night.
is
Except
everything else?
for the courthouse lawn.
Well, yes, sorry. The cruise committee has reached out to me. How do you guys feel on?
There we go. It's like rocking the boat.
That's not till the July or something, but I'm not sure on the date. They haven't filled out their form. But how do you guys want to proceed with such things as that? I don't know if the city hasn't
Allowing,
reached out to
use of the courthouse lawn.
Right.
Well, you got social distancing issues.
So they would still have to try to abide by that. But the problem is I don't know if like the committees want to police that as well. So
I would say let them fill out their paperwork.
that's normal.
Yeah, because if it's not till July,
Usually the cruise is July.
End of July.
July used to be the week after fair, but
I don't see any problem
Well,
with filling out the paperwork.
you know, you're gonna
Follow
have
the look at the recommendations.
city celebrations with parades that are gonna be coming up. And I don't know if they're canceling all those or if they're just kind of a wait and see.
well, I know a lot of them
I
have
would
already
think
canceled. Bell Plains
a lot of
canceled
them are
theirs.
canceling.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, our fair is in different situations right now.
Well, I agree with Gary. I think they might as well go ahead and fill out the paperwork.
Okay, I've just received one call so far, so I'll reach out to them.
Yeah.
I guess that'd go for anybody. They can fill out the paperwork.
And then you guys can decide at the time what you're doing. Or if you put any
Yeah.
other stipulations.
Have to make your decision off best recommendations.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Well, then that's all I have.
You should talk to them about.
Well, I have a question for the sheriff
Yes.
regarding the trailer that you have sitting empty currently.
Yes.
The one that Haley uses with elections.
Yep.
Looking for a short-term solution for the food pantry with getting pickup, having the groceries out of the weather. And so Haley recommended maybe we use the trailer, which would be portable, cost-effective, obviously. But my question to you is, do you know the size of it?
Must be about 20 foot.
Ooh, okay.
I'm
Well,
gonna
that's
say
definitely
it's,
big enough.
yeah,
Good size. It hauls a lot at once. So.
16 to 20 foot. You just want it on the west side of the building in the parking there close to the building?
Let me visit with the food pantry first.
Okay, we'll put it wherever you want it.
Okay,
As long as I can have it back on May, probably the 28th for sure, through June 3rd.
well, this is just something they need on Tuesdays.
Okay.
Not a problem.
So, okay,
Sort out.
I will pursue with that, okay?
Yep.
All right.
All right, very good.
I guess we're ready to adjourn.
Oh, you got committee reports.
Okay. What do you got?
Building update. You been around there at all, Rick, over the weekend?
I have not, no.
Okay. Thursday, I got the post and the trees and all that out of there for the building. Yesterday morning, we moved the dirt. The sod's all moved. Building is ordered, the trusses and poles are ordered. Later on this week, weather permitting, I will meet with Stark and Ben and we will restake it. So it's worth a drive by there to take a look at it now. It looks awesome.
Okay, sounds good.
And I've received a few insurance certificates, so I'm just filing them.
Okay. Speaking of that, you will get another bill from Atkins Lumberyard. That's gonna pertain for Tony Varzek's, spit shield, as I call them. I made one for her, but I'm not gonna send a bill in for the PVC pipe, is what I had left over. I only made her one, so.
Benton County was selected from ISAC from filling out a survey too, so I have to be on a conference call tomorrow with Congress and some other people if they have questions. They just selected us for our size and what's this is affecting for our expenses and revenue.
Well, I guess the other gals have bought, or had McDowell's,
Yep.
got them.
And Sarah got one
Yeah.
under her box too, so. Which I have some options too for election ones I can pass on. Which I have to drive to Delaware to pick up my PPE supplies. for elections.
You probably don't know how it's gonna come out for the reimbursement for the virus, the extra precautions that we've been doing.
As far as countywide, Scott Hansen and I have been talking. I don't think we've been geared enough to get FEMA involved. I can apply for a grant for my election stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the little things here and there, yeah.
We're
it's
still
kind
keeping
of,
everything separate.
I still have a folder going, so. I mean, we still have time if we decide to later on.
But as of right now, there's no way that we'll be reimbursed for this, all this extra stuff.
I can get up to $300 per precinct.
That I'm talking the whole county.
No, not all that yet, because it was, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah. It's kind of crazy on top of everything else right now.
What about all?
I had a Heartland meeting, if I may jump in there.
Yes.
Okay. And as far as counties and what they are currently doing, what they anticipate doing, and most of them are just like we are. Still sitting on the fence, waiting to see what's happening. And as far as being closed to the public, etc. So, I don't think we're doing anything out of the ordinary.
Did they talk about the unemployment stuff that will not go against us, right? Like those employees that have filed for unemployment, like on a normal situation.
I don't recall any of that conversation happening.
Okay, because Judy mentioned something.
Did she?
Yeah, because we have a few that have filed unemployment.
Really?
Some seasonals and part-timers, so that's kind of why they encourage us to hold off on some, but now I understand it's getting further out, so.
Sure. Yeah. And to be very honest, these Zoom meetings, they're really cost efficient. When you start think about mileage reports and that type of thing, some of these counties are traveling great distances for the meetings.
Yep, and some conferences are already being canceled and.
Yep. But I really didn't have a lot to report with Harlan.
Okay.
How is the phone systems coming along?
They come back on about 5 o'clock last night. I was still here when they come back on.
Okay.
So I think that's been corrected. That was not on our end, that was on the phone company's end.
Yes, that's from what I could read. That sounded like it was their issue with some licensing.
Yep, and US Cellular called because people were assuming their phones had issues and were going in there because it was saying something about a privacy setting and yeah, so I think we got them all.
They are working now.
Yep.
So.
Good, very good.
Oh, one last thing, Rick.
Yes.
I had a guy call me on Friday, name of Dave Palestine. I've never heard of him. I haven't really checked any more than that. But what he is, somewhere between here and Urbana, I'm guessing, according to his phone number, he has got an acre of grapes, and he wants to start a winery in his house. Evidently, Benton County does not have a winery yet. It will be the first
We
one.
do not, that I'm aware of.
Yeah, it'll be
Tip
the
its
first one
basement.
in Benton County. So, the state, ABD, the Alcohol Beverage and Division, the state of Iowa,
Right.
sent me a criteria, because usually they do not let them have a winery in the house. They gotta be in a separate building. But if the county supervisors says it's okay for this guy to do it, then they will grant him a license to do it.
You talked to Mark on that too?
I haven't. I
Forward it to him?
Yes, I told him to talk to Mark first. So, but he did send me a copy of the alcohol beverage license and all the hoops he's gotta jump through. So.
Well, I think we'd want to make sure he's not doing it with just a bunch of barrels in his basement.
Well, I look at that,
Yeah.
should be Mark's job,
Exactly.
not mine.
Yeah. Yet, I'm not sure that is Mark's job, is it?
He
Department of
was,
Health,
land use
obviously,
change.
but,
what's that?
you know,
Has to
I
get land
don't
use
know.
change, doesn't he? The guy doesn't live in town.
Yeah, he lives
What was that?
in the country,
He lives in the country.
We're talking about land use, how it's
So
affected that way.
it's a,
business.
yeah, it has to go through Mark Greenley's office.
Yeah, that's what I thought, that's why I said he needs to talk to Mark.
He's gonna have to go through and he's gonna have to apply for a land use change,
Yeah,
just like anyone else would.
But it's within his, yeah.
but he's gonna have it, the business in his basement is what he's gonna have.
Maybe.
At this point, you know, he's hoping he gets.
That's what he's hoping for.
Yeah. But he was questioning me and I said, well, I don't have a problem with it as long as you meet all the other criteria with Mark.
And then Mark would probably put it on
Yeah.
the agenda for you guys to formally.
Yeah. I should run down and probably talk to him to see if, I wrote the guy's name, I made him spell it out. So,
Is it on the calendar?
what's that?
Where's it at?
I didn't ask his address, but I mean, he sent me an email. That's how I got, you know, the license, the application for the license. So,
Or just forward that email to Mark and
okay, all right, I can just take it down now.
he might. figure it
Hopefully
out,
he
but
knows
yeah.
something. Like I said, that was Friday of last week, he called me. That's it for me now.
Alright,
Does Bloomberg Farms have a winery?
No,
Bloomsbury.
Or Bloomsbury?
They have
No.
they get liquor license or permit for stuff, but
I wonder if that's the guy that's growing the hops. I don't recall his name. I'll bet that'd be a Benton number.
yeah, that would be it. The one I'm thinking of is different.
I think there was a guy right on 150 that grows hops. That's where they got the tall stakes.
I don't know, but if you guys are ready, I got ballots and stuff.
okay, I make a motion to adjourn.
Yep. Do we have a
And I
report?
would second that.
Thank you.
All in favor, please say aye.
Can we have a report on
Aye.
that, Haley?
On what? How many?
How many of them?
As of
Meeting
yesterday,
adjourned.
over 2,500. Today, I don't even know. I haven't even seen the mail yet. I'm
They
scared.
have,
Now it's like, and I was, yeah, so I didn't have it ended